What is the economy? It's a word we hear all the time on the news, a concept that can feel vast and complicated. But the economy isn't some distant machine operating far away. It's right here, all around us. It is the invisible network that connects us all, the sum of every choice we make every single day. It's in the breakfast you eat, the bus you take, the video you're watching right now. At its most basic level, the economy is simply the way we, as a society, get the things we need and want. In most transactions today, a buyer gives money to a seller in exchange for a good, like a pair of sneakers, or a service, like a haircut. This simple exchange of value is the fundamental atom, the single essential building block of the entire economic system. But to understand why this exchange is so important, we first need to grasp a core principle that governs all of our lives: scarcity. Scarcity is the fundamental economic problem. Our wants and desires are practically unlimited, but the resources available to fulfill them, time, money, materials, are finite. Think about your day. You only have 24 hours. You can't study for a test, practice a sport, see a movie with friends, and get a full night's sleep all at the same time. You have to make choices. That's scarcity in action. The economy is the system we've all built to manage this scarcity. It helps us answer three basic questions. What should we produce? How should we produce it? And who gets to consume what we produce? To see how this works in the real world, let's tell a story. Meet Maya. Maya has a passion for baking. She noticed that people in her town were looking for high-quality, homemade treats. Seeing an opportunity, she decided to take a risk. She used her savings, rented a small storefront, and bought professional equipment like an oven and mixers. Maya is an entrepreneur. She is combining resources, flour, sugar, her own time and skill, and her equipment, which economists call capital, to create a product. In this case, her famously delicious chocolate chip cookies. In the language of economics, Maya is a producer, or a seller. She has created something of value to satisfy a want in her community. Now meet Leo. Leo is a young boy who lives down the street. He just spent the week doing his chores and finishing his homework, and for his efforts he's earned his allowance. That allowance is his limited resource. He can't buy everything he wants with it. He has to make a choice. He could save it, buy a new comic book he's been eyeing, or get a special treat. In economic terms, Leo is a consumer, or a buyer. He has wants, and a limited budget to satisfy them. As Leo walks home, the incredible aroma of fresh-baked cookies wafts out of Maya's bakery. In that moment, his desire for a cookie becomes stronger than his desire for the comic book. He has made an economic choice. The immediate benefit of that warm, gooey cookie seems greater than the benefit of the comic book. This is called assessing opportunity cost. The comic book is the next best thing he is giving up to get the cookie. He walks inside, gives Maya $1, and she gives him a warm, gooey cookie. A transaction has just occurred. This is a voluntary exchange. It's not forced. It happens because both Leo and Maya believe they are better off. Leo has satisfied his want for a delicious treat, and Maya has earned $1. On the surface, it's just a boy buying a cookie. But this tiny event is like a pebble dropped into a vast pond. It creates ripples that spread out in every direction, connecting Leo and Maya to a huge, invisible network of economic activity. Let's follow that single dollar. For Leo, his dollar is gone, exchanged for the satisfaction of the cookie. But for Maya, that dollar isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning. It's now part of her revenue. With that dollar, and all the others she earns, she has to make her own set of choices that keep her business and the wider economy moving. A portion of that dollar will be reinvested into her business. She uses it to buy more flour and chocolate chips. That money goes to the grocery store owner, who then uses it to pay the wholesale distributor who delivered the flour. The distributor uses it to pay the milling company that ground the wheat, and the milling company uses it to pay the farmer who grew it. Leo's single dollar has just helped support an entire supply chain. Another part of that dollar is pooled with others to pay the wages of her employee Carlos. For Carlos, this wage is his income. He uses that money to buy groceries for his family and to pay his rent. His landlord then uses that rent money to pay property taxes to the city. Those tax dollars help fund public schools, repair roads, and pay the salaries of firefighters. Leo's cookie purchase is now indirectly helping to educate children and keep the entire community safe. The ovens and lights in the bakery don't run for free. Maya uses a piece of Leo's dollar to pay her electricity bill. That money travels to the utility company, which uses it to maintain the power grid, invest in new energy sources, and pay the salaries of its engineers and technicians. Those workers then spend their income on their own needs and wants, creating even more ripples. After all the bills are paid, if Maya runs her business well, there's money left over. This is profit, her reward for taking the risk of starting a business. She might use this profit to buy a second oven to expand her production, or she might save it in a bank. The bank then lends that money to other people, perhaps to a family buying their first home, or to another entrepreneur with a new idea. Leo's dollar is now helping to build the future, so let's step back. That $1 from one boy buying one cookie has traveled an incredible journey. It supported farming, transportation, retail, and energy. It became wages, paid for housing, and funded public services. It became profit that was then reinvested into the economy. Now multiply this single transaction by the billions that happen every single day, all over the world. That is the economy. It's a complex, dynamic, and deeply human system, all driven by the simple choices we make to navigate a world of scarcity. It's the story of us, all woven together in one vast, interconnected web. At the heart of all economics lies a fundamental challenge: scarcity. This is the simple, universal truth that we have unlimited wants and needs, but live in a world with limited resources. How we bridge the gap between what we want and what we have is a story that plays out every single day for individuals and entire nations. To understand how we navigate this challenge, let's tell a story. Imagine it's the beginning of summer. You're a teenager with a clear goal: to earn enough money for a new computer before school starts again. You've got ambition and a solid idea: starting a lawn mowing business in your neighborhood. You do your research and find the perfect, reliable lawnmower. But there's a problem. It costs $300. You check your savings, and you only have $50. This gap between what you have and what you need is a classic example of scarcity. Your resources are limited, but your immediate need is not. So, what are your options? You could spend the entire summer trying to save up the rest of the money, but by then, the season would be over. You could buy a cheaper, less reliable mower, but that might break down and cost you more in the long run. Or, you could find a way to bridge that financial gap right now. You decide to go to a bank. You don't just ask for money, you come prepared. You present a clear business plan, explaining how many lawns you'll mow, your pricing, and your projected earnings. You show the loan officer that you have a realistic path to not only paying back the loan but also making a profit. The bank, seeing a low-risk, high-potential investment, agrees to lend you the remaining $250. This loan is an act of trust. In the world of finance, this trust is called credit. You have just used credit to overcome the immediate problem of scarcity. With that money, you buy the lawnmower and start your business. This small transaction is a perfect miniature of how our entire economy functions. Credit allows individuals to buy homes, students to pay for education, and entrepreneurs to launch businesses. It's the financial engine that helps society invest in its future, turning scarce resources into abundant opportunities.